The Bedford cottages in and around Tavistock are today's sought-after and welcoming homes. They are also an attractive and distinctive feature of the West Devon mining landscape. Valuable minerals have been extracted from beneath the hills and moors of West Devon and Cornwall for around 4,000 years. From the 1700s until the early 1900s, the metal mining industry here played a vital role in transforming our way of life. It provided essential raw materials to feed the Industrial Revolution in Britain and pioneered technological developments that helped shape the society we live in today. As a result, the mining landscapes of Cornwall and West Devon now have World Heritage Site status. In 1844, a rich lode of copper was discovered on the Duke of Bedford's land at Blanchdown near Tavistock. Several mines were opened along the main lode. These together formed the Devonshire Great Consolidated Copper Mining Company, or Devon Great Consols. This was, for a time, the largest copper mine in Europe. Close to the mines was the little port of Morwell Ham on the River Tamar. Here, the copper ore was loaded into coastal vessels, which transported it to South Wales for smelting. As a result of this intense industrial activity, many miners, associated workers and their families moved into Tavistock and the countryside nearby. Their arrival added to the existing problems of overcrowding, lack of sanitation, and high child mortality, which needed to be resolved urgently. To principal landowner Francis, the 7th Duke of Bedford, this was both a problem and an opportunity to increase rental income. He inherited the Bedford estates in 1839 and quickly recognised that the shocking slum conditions in Tavistock could be improved only by providing new accommodation for working people. The Duke took a genuine interest in the cottage building, visiting Tavistock on a number of occasions, and even having a say in quite trivial building details. John Benson, the Duke's local representative in Tavistock, argued passionately for the case for the cottages. His office was the little building in the centre of the town at the top of Plymouth Road. There's a wall plaque erected to his memory in the parish church. Another key player was Theophilus Jones, a talented architect and surveyor who is buried in the little Victorian cemetery at Dolvin Road. He came to Tavistock in 1843 and was responsible for the design and supervision of the early groups of cottages, which he insisted should be built to a high standard. When in 1852 Jones became ill, supervision of the cottages passed to Edward Rundle, whose own building achievements include the Tavistock Town Hall. From 1845 to 1866, Theophilus Jones and his successors built around 300 cottage dwellings in and around Tavistock. Those which Jones developed became known as Bedford Cottages. Although the terraces in the town are now Grade 2 listed and prized for their social and historical significance, they were built at low cost to provide a minimum decent housing for workers and their families. 2 rooms on the ground floor and 3 bedrooms above were barely sufficient for a typically large Victorian family of 5 to 10 children. Nevertheless, the cottages were a huge improvement on the slums which had gone before. In all, there were 5 groups of cottages constructed in the town: at Westbridge, Parkwood Road, near the canal at Fitsford, on higher ground at Trelawney Road, and the first group to be designed and built by Jones at Dolvin Road. Here, 18 cottages were arranged in 3 terraces. They were built from locally made bricks, and at each end of the terrace there was a gable porch. Granite lintels, sills and boundary posts came from the Bedford Estate workyard near Abbey Bridge. Unfortunately, costs proved higher than expected, so that plans for the next and biggest group of cottages had to be modified. At Westbridge, 64 lime-washed cottages in terraces of various lengths backed onto shared yards. They were built of rubble stone with brick for chimneys and some internal walls. As at Dolvin Road, there is a gable porch at each end of the terrace. The front kitchen had a built-in cooking range and some cupboards. A pantry opened from the back kitchen, in one corner of which was an enclosed cast-iron boiler heated by a grate underneath, with a flue also serving the single upstairs fireplace. The back door led to a cobbled yard. Water was supplied by an outside tap, shared between two cottages, but there was no wastewater system. The earth privy was in an outhouse and shared a roof with a pigsty and the adjacent neighbour's pigsty. Beside it was an ash pit, with the pig's court behind. Upstairs, a small landing led to 3 bedrooms. At the back was the one intended for parents and the youngest children. At the front, 2 rooms for the boys and girls were divided by a partition, giving at least some level of privacy. The windows were casement, and there was also ventilation in the ceiling. Outside, the slate roofs and cast-iron downpipes remain. The cottages had gardens with rights-of-way accessed through shared gates, and there were often allotments nearby. The design was so successful that the Duke published the plans in 1850, and it was copied elsewhere. The later cottages in Tavistock had some modifications to save costs, such as sliding windows, but were of the same basic form. The next group of Bedford cottages in the town, 24 in terraces of 6, were built on Parkwood Road in 1859. They were built on the Westbridge plan, but not limewashed. A further 36 cottages in terraces of 6 were added near the Tavistock Canal at Fitsford in 1862. Here, all the terraces face south. Rear gables were omitted. Ash pits were communal, but otherwise the design was unchanged. The last Bedford cottages were built in 1866 and are more suburban in appearance. 7 terraces of 4 were built in a crescent along Trelawney Road, with the front porches adjacent and some bay windows. They had an internal tap over a sink in the back kitchen, drains, and an outside water closet. Outside Tavistock, similar cottages had been built between 1850 and 1858 to serve specific mining communities. These can be found at Mill Hill, where 24 cottages were arranged in terraces of 4. Further west at Wheal Maria, where 20 were arranged in pairs. And to the south, on the banks of the River Tamar at Morwell Ham, where 20 were laid out in terraces of 4. All of these were without gables. As the mining declined, the mine workers were replaced by local farm and quarry workers. There is no doubt that the Dukes of Bedford had an eye on the income generated by the cottages, and they still provide landlords with a decent return today. But the Bedford estate and its employees, Benson and Jones, must take credit for bringing substantial improvements to the working classes of Victorian Tavistock. Today, none of the cottages have all their original features, but they are in much the same structural condition as when they were built 150 years ago. Of course, improvements such as internal sanitation and bathrooms have been made to meet the needs of modern owners. Despite their small size, they are desirable properties. But what are they actually like to live in?
It's really comfortable, and I live by the river, and I've been here 20 years, and it's a really nice oasis.
Plenty of character, it's well built, cool in the summer, warm in the winter. Nice place to live.
Compact, small and absolutely lovely.
Warm and comfortable, nice thick walls. Been here for years.
They are very homely. They have a great atmosphere, there's good ambience here, it's got bags of character.
They're very pretty and cosy, and it's quite a close-set community along here, and the people are very friendly.
Ours is 2 cottages put together, so we've got 3 bedrooms and a bathroom and nice big kitchen area that would have been 2 rooms is now 1 room.
I'm just privileged, I think, to be here.
The Bedford cottages have been appreciated by generations of Tavistock people. But more than that, they have become homes in one of the most beautiful towns in the country, and a legacy of its mining heyday.